Hey, how's it going, guys? I wanted to do a quick little video here and talk about Conquest a bit as a new player. So I haven't been playing too long, really just started this season, but Conquest a bit more of a try, and after I've tried it a bit, I have some thoughts on it and how I feel about it as a beginning player. So, first off, some negatives that I've noticed. One, the community seems quick to forfeit a game, just quit mid-game, even if there's still a chance. It's still can be a bit annoying sometimes because you want to play it out and see if you can make it close, and people just want to surrender right away. And I've noticed that with other MOBAs too, though, specifically League of Legends. It seems to be a common way that people play the game, which is fine. I'm new to the genre, so maybe people aren't as against it as I am, but coming from other games, it seems a bit off-putting. Another negative that I have here is the auto builds. I do like the auto builds. I think it's very helpful in comparison to a game like League of Legends because it's one less thing to worry about while you're still learning the champions and still learning the skills. But I will say that it seems that the builds are not optimal, and I found myself looking up builds and putting them into the auto builder to try to make it, a bit better, because I don't know if these were meta like a long time ago and they just haven't updated them. And it could be they're just using weird builds based off of beginning players more so than top level players. And I'm more of a beginner player, so any good build or any strong build that they could give me would be very helpful. But yeah, that's another negative. And then one other negative, I would say, this is less of a negative and more of just a learning curve, but there seems to be a lot of things the game doesn't explain, which, again, that's a MOBA thing, but coming to this game, I find myself having to Google lots of simple things, and certain things seem overly complex, which I think Smite's the best for beginners, but even still, I find myself having to watch a lot of videos and learn things, and again, it's not really a negative, it's more of a just noting that there's a learning curve, and when you do good, it feels great, but when you're struggling and you feel like you don't know what's going on, that's when it becomes a bit of a headache. So I don't know if there's a great fix for this. I mean, Conquest is always going to be the most complex mode, but also the most competitive mode. Now to hop into some positives, I find that, doing well is very rewarding when you start getting some kills, which, I mean, I don't do very often because I'm pretty bad at the game, but still, I think it's very, very rewarding when you're getting kills and making plays, and then it's not always the easiest to coordinate with your teammates, especially with no voice chat in these public games, because I should have said this earlier, but I'm doing the casual games. I don't have ranked unlocked yet, so that's what I've been playing. But I would say the lack of communication due to no voice chat makes it a little harder to communicate with teammates, but when you do group up and make a big play, it feels awesome. It's very rewarding, and I think all of the gods they have in this game really play well together. Well, there's combos that play well together, but what I meant to say was Conquest really comes across as a mode where you can try a lot of different gods. I'm sure there's some that are top of the meta and some that aren't, but playing it now, it feels like I can try a decent variety, and they all kind of do different things, and yeah, it comes across pretty fun to me. But as I play more, I'll probably figure out which gods I like more and kind of go from there. As for roles, I've mostly been playing carry, a little bit of solo. I haven't really messed with support much, and I haven't really messed with jungle much, or mid, but partially because jungle to me seems overly complicated for a beginner. That being said, I'm sure people who have the patterns and rotation down don't find it very difficult, and yeah, it's hard to really explain, but I'm sure a lot of people who are beginners have noticed this too. Just jungle seems overwhelming. It almost seems like a completely different game, so that aspect's fun. Well, fun, I'm sure, when you figure it out. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but anyway. Another thing about Conquest that I'd like to talk about is the leveling experience. I find that leveling up in some games, when you're ahead, feels good. You're kind of hitting the camps, and if you're playing solo, for instance, you're hitting the skull relic. I don't know what it is actually, but hitting that seems to work pretty well. And when you're rolling, feels great. You're leveling up. Seems very important to stay similar level with your opponent, because if you're in solo, for instance, I've noticed when people start to get ahead in levels, it makes it very hard to compete, which, again, that's how the game's built. I'm not like complaining. It's just something I've noticed, and it's probably a pretty obvious observation, but hey. On top of that, I'd say the power levels between, like, say 16 to 17 seem fairly large, which I do kind of like. It rewards you farming, and it rewards you getting in a good rhythm, so I find that fun. And the next thing I'd like to talk about here with this is the flow of the game, and in the game mode more specifically. So playing through towers and then to phoenixes and then the titan at the end, I find it very satisfying, especially when you're the one pushing ahead. It can feel kind of daunting when you're on the back foot and just defending for most of the game, but I find it very fun just trying to, little by little, especially early game, kind of push up and chip down some towers. And yeah, it's very, very fun and very rewarding when you actually knock down a tower or even a phoenix, and then eventually the titan. It's just it's a rewarding loop of gameplay, and I appreciate that for sure. It's definitely the most rewarding experience I've had in Smite up to this point. But yeah, another thing I'd like to talk about is kind of some of the side bosses, like the fire giant and the pyromancer. I think it adds a really fun mechanic that you have to go after, and it really gives you an advantage if you get them done. I really like that. It's kind of fun having a little mini boss fight and then having to worry about someone else coming and stealing the kill too, because whoever hits it last gets the credit for it. So yeah, they're pretty important, and I find that enjoyable for sure. One thing I like too about this game that they don't do in League of Legends is the camps are labeled and there's little signs pointing you in their direction. Makes it a lot easier for someone like me who doesn't know where anything is off the top of my head, so I just follow the signs and get where I need to go. And yeah, I look forward to trying ranked. I think it might be a bit more toxic for sure, because people are taking it a lot more serious, but at the same time, I do think a game like this was built for ranked, and I think it'll be fun to see if I can rank up a little bit. Probably not much, because again, I'm terrible at the game. But already, I know this is a short one and a bit rambly, but I just want to make something talking about Conquest since I've been trying it out a bit more. And yeah, if you like the video, like this style of video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, you know the deal. And I'll be doing more videos like this, as well as keeping my mastery series going. I also want to make a bit more news videos for Smite 2. And yeah, if there's anything you'd like to see, let me know. Let me know who your favorite god is down in the comments. And hope you all have a good rest of your day.